Alright, here are my predictions for UFC Serbia, or UFC Fight Night, Medic versus Rodriguez. To kick off the. Oh, here's the card opener. I was going to say kick off the card or something. The main, main card opener. The prelim opener. Marina Spasic versus Stephanie Luciano. I got Luciano here. It's too hard to tell about these new fighters coming into the UFC because most of the time they fight bums and they look good against bums and then they get, crushed easily. But it's a women's fight. Who really cares, to be honest? I don't. Just just a random figure. I wonder who that is. All right, moving on. Jovan Leka versus Alexander Popik. Popik was on the Contender Series and lost to Jamal Hill, who did become a champion after, and then fell off. But lighter man skill might be the difference maker here, and I have Popik just for that reason. Especially since I have Rakic in the beginning, or in the main card against Tybura. I just spoiled it. Anyway, I made a video about that. It didn't go too in depth. I think Leka is like Lika or something. Yeah, who cares? He's just a blob. He was on the Contender Series, had a boring ass fight, maybe an unimpressive fight against some Uzbekistan guy. Won it, but not very wow, I'm amazed. He's alright. I think Popik will win. I think the lighter man skill will take, a lot to destroy here from Leka. Moving on. Nina Milosevic versus Haley Cohen. Haley Cohen coming off of a brutal slime out. Knee right down the pipe, put her out cold. She's gonna lose just for that reasoning. It wasn't even that long ago, and this is probably the last fight on her contract. I got Nina Milosevic. She's a 425 favorite. It probably won't be as wow, there's levels being shown. It'll probably be competitive decision, more than likely. Another women's fight, easy decision for Miss Nina. Moving on, we got Mateusz Rebecki versus Kyle Prepelic. Prepelic, he had a scrap with Drew Dober. It was 1-1, maybe 2-0 Prepelic. And then he lost to Benoit Saint-Denis, replacing Joe Alvarez. But he made it look so bad. He was hunching over, waiting for Benoit, and you just saw what Paddy Pimblett did to Benoit. But, Prepelic isn't Paddy Pimblett, but come on, you can't, he looked so bad in that fight. Benoit looked bad, too. And Prepelic kind of just stood there waiting. Weird. Just weird. Rebecki, on the other hand, is on a losing streak, I'm pretty sure. The Grant Dawson fight, you really should have won that. Really should have won that. Dawson's so chinny and got no striking. He looked lost on the feet. I got Rebecki here. Prepelic can steal it, but Prepelic, in my opinion, isn't all that good. Rebecki beat Orlby. It's a good win, and Prepelic hasn't beaten anybody oh wow, maybe this guy can be something. If he didn't even beat Drew Dober, that doesn't really give high hopes. So, I got Rebecki. Alright, moving on. Dennis Bazukia versus Bogdan Grad. Wow, he kept his job after getting viciously slimed. It's probably because he's a Ray Longo guy. Trains with Aljo and them. Bogdan Grad got knocked out in his last fight against Luke Riley. But Luke Riley got them hands of steel apparently now, so I don't know. They're both coming off losses. Bazookia could just pull off a insane grapple masterclass or some shit. I don't think that's gonna happen. I got Bogdan Grad. Decision, maybe second round, ground and pound finish. Bazookia isn't good. He got absolutely killed in his last fight. I don't think he should be fighting anymore. I think he should be retired, to be honest. A very concerning one, especially in Bogdan Grad. Don't even got that kind of power though, but very concerning. Moving on. Borislav Nikolic. We'll go with that. Versus Mark Volgodin. I got Borislav. He's 16-2, I believe. 16-2. He was the Brave CF champion or Brave FC champion. I think he'll take this. Volgodin is a midget, kind of, for the weight class. Borislav's going to have that size on him. Volgodin could just pull it off out of nowhere. I don't know. I don't think he will. He didn't look too impressive against John Castaneda, I think he fought. I got Nikolic. Pretty easy one to predict. I had him as well in the last video, but I think he'll get it done just because the experience. Experience matters, even though Volgodin does have more fights technically. But the experience Borislav has at a higher competition level is probably the difference maker here. Moving on, we have Oban Elliott versus Michael Oliveira. Oban Elliott, it's time to hang him up after this. If you lose, you might die. Michael Oliveira is a scary motherfucker, man. He's a very scary guy. He has friggin' pop. Real pop. He beat the shit out of Victor Valenzuela. Literally beat him up so bad. One side of his face was completely swelled. And he clipped him with a nice, I think, a right hook or something like that. Just put him down and finished him. But Valenzuela is a pretty tough guy. And Oban Elliott is kind of a letdown. You know, he lost to Jonathan Mikhailov last time out. It could have been the size difference, that was it. But Mikhailov is not good. He's slow. He's one-dimensional. He has a body kick, maybe. He looked like shit in the first round of the Elliott fight. And he got a fluky-looking sub where he just got it. Put him to sleep. But it was like a very unimpressive win, in my opinion. Because then he immediately went to a split decision with Themba Gorimbo. Made Gorimbo look like a fucking world champion boxer out there. Like, what the hell are you doing? Also, shit grappling defense. Michael Oliveira knockout, first or second round. Oban Elliott, you can take him into deep waters with the grappling, but Oban Elliott did get dropped by Val Woodburn. A Val Woodburn hook. And I can't pick a guy who got dropped by a midget's hook when you're comparing to Michael Oliveira. But, you know, credits to Oban Elliott, man. He took that Sakyon Ko fight, I think on short notice, and Baku. He does not shy away from a hard fight. I respect it. You have to respect it. You really have to. Nobody has balls like that guy. Even after getting, you know, slept, technically, in your last fight by a guy who's also bigger than you. So, well, moving on. We got Ludovic Klein versus a cheater. Oh, man. Shit, I don't know who's going to win this one. Ludovic Klein decision. I don't think Masayev has, like, the skill set like Gamrot. Gamrot is just an amazing grappler compared to Klein. Masayev got subbed by Oralby. Rebecca didn't get subbed by Oralby. So it really does show where they're at technically. And Masayev's a cheater. I think Klein is a level above Masayev. Because he didn't struggle with Bahamondes like Masaev did. Or Masaev literally had to cheat and headbutt Bahamondes after getting dropped real bad. You know. I don't even see like much technical skill out of Masaev. Masaev can win this if he grapples and takes him down and holds him there. Otherwise, it's going to be a Klein decision outpointing Masaev. Could be a finish. I see a Klein decision. Klein's not really a finisher. He's good. He's just not a finisher. Which could be a difference maker here. So, I don't know, man. I got Ludovic Klein. Decision. 30-27, 29-28. Something like that. Maybe gets a 10-8. Puts a whooping on the cheater. On the opening up the main card. Two ghosts? Are these ghosts? Wow, shit, man. The UFC, thank you, man. You can't even give us the regional photos at least? Like, bro, $1 billion company. Milos Jancic versus Noah Gagnon. Jancic has about 20 fights. Gagnon has 11. He's 9-2. Jancic is around like 19-3, maybe 19-2, maybe a draw. I think Jancic will win a decision. I don't know much about either guy. Gagnon has a finish, but in Aries FC had a fat blob as a champion, a heavyweight champion. The skill ceiling in that friggin' promotion probably isn't too high. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's not a very impressive promotion. It doesn't have very good fighters like that. But Axel Sola came from there, so I don't know. Maybe. Just depends how they look under the bright lights of Serbia. Yeah, I got Jancic. Decision. Experience matters. Apparently, no. Moving on. Another random ghost versus Gilbert Urbina at middleweight. Vlasto Seppo versus Gilbert Urbina. I got Vlasto here. He has KO power, I've seen. Urbina's pretty chinny. Urbina's not that good. He got knocked out by the guy in the main event, Rosmedic. But he also dropped at Rosmedic. I don't know. I got Seppo. But if Urbina wins this, it will make Medic look even better in hindsight. Even if he loses this, because that's a good win. And the Seppo guy is a Octagon fighter, I think. Octagon guy. Came from there. Looked pretty good there. Got some knockouts. Urbina's kind of been in the UFC, stalling around. Losing. Voice crack. Losing. He has lost to decent competition, I'll admit it. You know, he lost to Medic, Brady, some other bums. It's just, I don't see Charles Radke. Charles Radke ain't that good, though. He got, he got beaten by Mike Mallet, but he only lost to people in the rankings. Those are two decent fighters. I got Seppo. Pretty clear and cut pick. Urbina's kind of chinny, but you never know how his chin's gonna hold up at middleweight because he was a welterweight. So maybe the extra size, less of the weight cut, keeping that spinal fluid in his brain, protecting him. We'll see about that chin. Moving on. Desko Todorovic. Oh, whoops. Fuck. Ruined the pacing. Versus Robert Valentin. Todorovic decision. Valentin beat some absolute scrub who I don't even know why the UFC allowed that guy in there. That really does tell you how bad Valentin is because he needed a guy from outside the UFC to win, which is insane. Todorovic has lost to a few decent opponents. He beat Jose Medina, which means something, I guess, because at least he beat him. He didn't lose to him, which is very important. I think Todorovic has this one. People thought Todorovic was the next big thing at one point, I'm pretty sure. Todorovic submission round 2. Round 2, maybe round 3. I don't think it'll come early. Both guys kind of... You never know. This could be like an underrated scrap at one point. I don't know. I got Todorovic sub. Valentin is pretty subbable. He doesn't have the greatest takedown defense either. Yeah, Todorovic sub or decision. I think are safe bets. Moving on. The Serbian in his hometown, or his home country, or the countryland, whatever. Alexander Rakic versus Marcin Tybura. I know the Blob has some real fans. I know they exist out there. I just think it's an Alexander Rakic lighter man skill decision. Maybe even a finish. I don't see that happening, but a decision could land a head kick. Tybura's been finished with those before. He ain't really gonna be ready for the athleticism of a lighter man. You know? Rakic could, you know, I hate to say it, but he could choke and pop his knee again. You know, Tom Aspin, all that shit, like he did before. You know, and it really does play into question is how much faster he's gonna be. That knee injury does make you question, but Rakic went to a decision with Ankalaev, and he, you know, was beating Yuri with low kicks. People forget. But he got knocked out by Mirzakhanov. So, but Tybura just lost to Tyrell Fortune. Yeah, Rakic, lighter man skill decision. For sure. That's what I got. Co-main event time. Co-main event. We got Jan Blachowicz versus Navajo Sterling. My thoughts are still the same. Jan Blachowicz looks like a grandpa. He's old. He looks real old. I saw him at the media day or the poster signings and shit. He looks old. He has gray hair. He's balding, pretty much bald. You know, maybe he should get a hairline transplant like Sterling did, because I know he was going bald. I think Blachowicz, skill-wise, will still have it in this fight. Sterling didn't beat Cutelaba. Cutelaba beat himself because he's stupid. Blachowicz was a champion. He's still skillfully pretty good, but the Guskov decision draw, but he outpointed Guskov pretty much the entire fight. That was just last year in December, basically a few months ago. I got Jan Blachowicz decision. I hope Jan can win this. It will, but you know, light heavyweight's trash, but I don't see Blachowicz as that bad. He could choke, you know, cough up some spit and just lose at 30-27 at worst case. Best case, it's a close fight that he wins or loses. Like, if he still makes it close with Sterling, he's still skillfully there. It's just the body can't stay with him for that long, you know? Because maybe his mind, you know? It's kind of like in chess where the older you are, the worse you get just because of the decline. Blachowicz reached his pinnacle in 2020 when he beat Dominic Reyes in Adesanya. I think that's where the pinnacle of his game was. I can see him losing here, unfortunately. Sterling copying the Oldberg game plan. Just make it as close as possible and win. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do. Because Blachowicz will outdo you if you don't outdo him with the very minor things, like the low kicks, the few, you know, the jabs, the body jabs, the small stuff. That's where you're going to beat Blachowicz. And Blachowicz arguably beat Oldberg, who's the current champion. And he arguably beat Guskov, depending on who you ask. You know? Like, he pretty much beat Guskov if that second round wasn't a 10-8. If he didn't get clipped early in the second round, it wouldn't have been a 10-8. And he would have gotten a win. But unfortunately, it's the age catching up. But I think Blachowicz skill-wise has Sterling, because Sterling isn't as, he's not really well developed like Olberg was. Because Olberg, he beat Alonzo Menefield in like 20 seconds. He beat, I believe he had beaten friggin' a few guys, some ranked guys. Sterling hasn't beaten anybody ranked. Cute Laba, Bruno Lopez, Ivan Urslan, like those guys aren't good. Urslan's cut, Bruno Lopez is trash, got an easy matchup in his debut. Cute Laba is an interesting fighter. He's a tricky customer sometimes for newer prospects. But Cute Laba just got tired in that fight and kind of quit, literally. Just sat down and let Navajo punch him. Navajo can win this if he does the Olberg thing where he just little tappy low kicks on some Goosecoff shit. I don't see a finish here. I don't think Sterling has the power. Sterling's more of a power puncher at like the perfect punch. It has to be like a Adesanya perfect counter kind of thing. He doesn't really have the Olberg check hook power. And Blachowicz ate all that. This is an interesting fight. I think Blachowicz will win. A decision. I really do hope Unk takes that O. But it would be good to see a new contender reach the pinnacle of the division. Sterling versus Olberg in a title fight could be interesting. Just saying. Maybe Khalil Roundtree is a fight. Blachowicz decision. Moving on. Well. Uros Medic versus Daniel Rodriguez in the 5-round main event. And I'm going with Daniel Rodriguez. Why? Daniel Rodriguez has that deceptive long reach. He is 40. Won't put it past him, so he could get slimed. He's not very, very chinny. He hasn't been finished by, he didn't get KO'd by Neil Magny. He only has been, TKO'd by Ian Gary. And that was a head kick that caught him off guard. And he lost to Kelvin, who missed weight by 10 pounds. So, pretty simple. I think Rodriguez will win. I could be completely wrong and look like a moron, but you know what? Everybody has Medic. Why not pick Daniel Rodriguez? Rodriguez has experience on Medic for sure. He has power too. He was beating up Kevin Holland. He dropped Kevin Holland multiple times, but he also got dropped by Kevin Holland. He got tired, but, he looked pretty fat out there, out of shape, bloated. And he still beat Kevin Holland, which is insane. Kevin Holland was probably downplaying Rodriguez, but even at that point, you still gotta win. And you still didn't. So maybe Rodriguez is just that kind of guy where he'll beat these younger fighters because they downplays him because of his age. He gets bloated after these fights. You never know. Uros Medic, on the other hand, great power puncher. He's pretty good early in those scraps. The first round especially. It's either a first round knockout from Medic or a Daniel Rodriguez second round knockout. Maybe third round. But, they're kind of one and the same. Just one's older than the other. Because they both seem like they would get tired out. You have to drag out that first round if you're going to beat Medic. And you know what? The hope is here from, everybody. We don't want to see this Unk beat Medic. We don't want to see that. But I just think it will happen. We want to see Uros Medic slime out Daniel Rodriguez, make the snot fly out of his nose. We need that. That's what the UFC needs. That's what we need. And they built this card around Medic too, so I hope Medic gets this one done. Look at him. I'm pretty sure he tattooed hair on his head. 45% knockouts, 85%. Expect the unexpected, Decisions. 0 decisions, 1 submission. You see this? This is what kind of matters. The average fight time. Rodriguez can fight for two, 3 rounds. You know, he's been in 3 rounders. He's been in jail. You never know what he's been working on. Medic, on the other hand, he only got like a minute of fight time against Jeff Neal, which, you know, it still raises questions. What will he look like in a decision? You know, in a 5-rounder especially. If Rodriguez just survives the first 2, maybe the first round, he could probably get this done. But, you know, it's a hard ask because he looked very chinnable against Kevin Holland. So, I don't know. Second round KO. Otherwise, it's going to be an Uros Medic violent slime out, I hope. And, yeah, Rodriguez did get finished by Ian Gary in the first round, so he's vulnerable in that first round. I don't know. I got him to win, though. Maybe we'll see a good scrap. No, an unexpected 5-round scrap. You never know. Daniel Rodriguez, second round KO. That's what I got. Alright. I think that covers it. Yep. Alright. Yeah. I like those picks. If you watch this video, come back and clown on me because it is quite stupid to pick a 40-year-old grandpa unk. You know, come back and clown on me, you know. It's just some fun, you know. Nothing, I ain't betting money on this, obviously, you know. So I won't get mad. But it could be either a really underrated pick or you look like an absolute moron fool for thinking some old guy could beat Medic, you know. Punahele Soriano got him out of there, so you never know. I hope Uros Medic wins. Alright. Goodbye.